it's late, they'll have us something hit the space station, we could undock and then come home safely.
All right, one quick last question for Mark. Mark, do you have any WCCO memories growing up or any Twin Cities memories?
I have a tremendous number of Twin Cities memories. Ice skating, cross-country skiing. I certainly would credit Minnesota winters with starting me on the path for getting comfortable in extreme environments.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your stay.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the WCCO TV portion of the event. Please stand by for a voice check from West Point.
Station, this is Cadet Jacob Willis with West Point. How do you hear me?
Hey, Jacob, we have you loud and clear.
Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for your time. Giving us your experiences of what it's like up in the International Space Station. We have a few questions for you. Starting up with Cadet Henry Carroll, Class of 23, Company G3. Gentlemen, you have both been through a handful of schools and selection processes designed to eliminate the vast majority of candidates who began them. What would you say is the defining character or personality trait that has allowed you to consistently find success in situations designed to produce failure?
Well, thanks for the question. There's a lot of traits that go into that. I think humility is a big part of it. I think, working hard is obviously a big deal. Being a good team player, learning how to be a leader when you need to lead, learning how to be a follower when you need to follow. All of those things are things that, I started learning back at West Point and learned how to grow those kind of, traits throughout my Army career and then my NASA career. Like you said, we've been to a lot of schools where they try to eliminate you, and this was kind of a small funnel getting into the astronaut corps as well. To me, all these jobs and things I've had in schools I've gone to, it's all about people. So taking care of people, if you're in a leadership position, for me, I'm really diving in, investing in my people, proved to be a pretty good pathway to get to where I am today.
Thank you, sir. We have another question from Casey Comar, Class 22, Company F1. How has this space flight differed from your previous ones? What were you ready for, and what were you unprepared for?
Honestly, my last flight, I felt like I was super well prepared. It was the first time I was in space, and it was extremely humbling. I trained for years only to get up here and feel like I was behind the schedule all the time, losing stuff. I was really, really hard on myself. This time coming back, it feels very different because it just continued on from the previous experience. I feel very comfortable up here right away. I've got just like last time, it's a great crew, having a good time together. And I think what I'm finding mentally is I'm just being a lot easier on myself. If something goes wrong, I'm just saying it's okay. It's sometimes you just got to accept things the way they are and move on and work hard on the next thing.
Thank you, sir. I'm sure I can relate with that sentiment right there. We have another question from Major Logan Phillips, Class of 2009, Company C1. In the light of the recent SpaceX launch, what roles will private enterprise and commercial space travel play in the future of space operations?
Yeah, we can only hypothesize on that now, but it looks like it's on a great track for non-professional astronauts to be flying in space. You may have heard about Inspiration 4. SpaceX is going to launch 4 private citizens here in this coming fall, and they're going to go to space for a couple days in the Crew Dragon, and they're going to land back off the coast of Florida. So that's kind of a first step, I think, to get non-professional astronauts, and it looks like that's something that SpaceX is very interested in. I think other companies like Blue Origin are very interested as well. So there's a lot of people going on in this, a lot of things going on in the space business outside of NASA in the private sector, which is going to enable those things you're talking about.
Thank you, sir. Our fourth question is from Cadet Ramsey Ruabia, Class of 22, Company I-4. What is the most interesting research project or experiment that you've conducted on the ISS?
Actually, I'd like to talk about one experiment that I worked on a big chunk of my day today. It's called celestial immunity. One of the things that happens in space is our immune systems change rapidly, and there was cell donors on the Earth, both young adults and elderly people, who provided those samples, and we are doing experiments on those up here to try to better understand how the immune system changes. As you can imagine, anytime you can take out one of the variables, you can learn more about how the system works. So we are in a free float environment up here. So things behave differently, and we're going to use that to better understand our immune systems.
Thank you, sir. Our next question comes from Major Josh Herrera, Class of 2010, Company C2. How did teaching at West Point prepare you for your time at NASA and in space?
Well, for me, obviously, I taught in the math department, and Mark taught in the physics department. I think both of us really had to study pretty hard to be able to teach the subject. So it taught us a lot about, teaching ourselves and really studying hard. But for me, the biggest advantage of teaching at West Point was just working with the cadets. I didn't really want to go do that tour. Believe it or not, I wanted to go back to what I'll call the real Army and be a helicopter pilot and go shoot things. But my career path kind of led me to go teach at West Point, and it was honestly the most rewarding experience I've had in the Army, just because of the experience I got to have with cadets. So how does that help us at NASA? Well, we have people that we work with all the time. We're better team players, I think, because of our experience at West Point, and just being able to influence, maybe have a little bit of influence over the cadets while we were there was a huge inspiration for me, and hopefully we can do the same at NASA, at Johnson Space Center in Houston.
Thank you, sir.
And I got really good at sophomore physics.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I remember one of my favorite parts of the core physics program was the orbital mechanics, and that's basically what you're doing right now. Our next question comes from Major Seven Hoke, Class of 2006, Company E3. Who is responsible for selecting experiments aboard the ISS, and how are they prioritized?
I don't have the exact answer for that. I know there's organizations that take care of that for us. I'd like to highlight that all those experiments we do on the space station, on the U.S. segment of the space station, specifically the U.S. experiments, come through Huntsville. So Huntsville, Alabama, we've got a NASA center there, and we talk to them every day as they integrate primary investigators into the system to be able to help coach us through the experiments that they've developed, they're going to analyze, and they're going to write papers about.
All right. Thank you, sir. I think we're just about running out of time. Thank you for speaking with us today. Actually, we have one more time for one more question. Final question from Cadet Joshua Reese, Class of 2023, Company C3. What type of communication problems exist between you and astronauts from other countries where political tensions exist between host countries back on Earth?
Well, we all have to learn how to speak Russian, so there's not really a communication barrier there, although some of mine's not near as good as it used to be. But honestly, we're a great model for society. We have all these countries up here working together for a common cause, and so I think we're just a great example for all of humanity back on Earth. And I know Army's playing baseball against Navy this weekend, so you see our Go Army, Beat Navy flag, and I got my baseball hat here ready to go to support the team. So go Army, beat Navy.
Go Army, beat Navy. So that we can keep it that way for a while, sir. All right. I think this concludes all of our questions. Thank you for your time, gentlemen.
All right, take care. Thanks.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.